thing about volleyball is, every guy on this side of the net is your ally. Kageyama begins his journey alone. He's a genius in the technical aspect of volleyball, and he feels solely responsible for the outcome of his matches. He's a setter because he thinks setters are the coolest. They get to touch the ball more than anyone else, and they're the control tower of their team's attacks. If any spikers on his team get blocked, he feels completely responsible. This mixed with his will to win lead him to play alone, trying to dodge his opponent's blocks without checking to make sure his teammates are keeping up with him. This leads to his middle school team abandoning him, which is a huge blow to his ego, and it intensifies his inferiority complex. This complex causes him to see his weaknesses reflected back at him by anyone that is more skilled than him in any area, which fuels his hunger for improvement. He loves volleyball for its own sake and wants to win so that he can continue to stand on the court. This is another place his hunger for improvement comes from, his idea that only the strong stay on the court. His love of volleyball, hunger for victory, and sense of responsibility cause volleyball to completely consume every aspect of his life. Hinata also begins his journey alone. After being inspired by the tiny giant, he practices volleyball tirelessly. He thinks spikers are the coolest, so he dreams of smashing spikes over opponents' blocks. His school doesn't have a boys' volleyball team, so he practices alone. He constantly asks members of other sports teams to give him tosses, and they refuse time and time again. But this doesn't stop Hinata, and he continues his constant training. Here lies Hinata's greatest strength, his iron will and refusal to give up. When he finally gets the opportunity to play a real game in a tournament, he feels like all the responsibility to win is on his shoulders, which, to be fair, it is. Everyone else on his team is beyond inexperienced, some not even aware of the basic positions of the game. The only thing that gets in the way of Hinata's iron will is his jealousy. Like Kageyama, he sees his inadequacies reflected back at him by others with more skill, and even more than that, more height. Hinata is incredibly short and often feels spiteful of his stature. He looks at tall players and feels jealous of the power that comes solely from how they were born. He also has a tendency to get nervous before games, but once he gets over the initial nervousness, he's a force to be reckoned with. His speed, agility, and reflexes are practically superhuman, but his technique is lacking since he barely ever got the chance to practice actual volleyball with other people. The foundation of Hinata and Kageyama's relationship is based on a crucial misunderstanding. They're both jealous of each other, but Hinata thinks that Kageyama sees him as trash. This misunderstanding begins after their first and only game as opponents in middle school. Kageyama is blown away by Hinata. He sees Hinata's superhuman physical abilities and is jealous of his overwhelming potential. Seeing all this raw potential without technique makes Kageyama angry. What have you been wasting your time with for the last 3 years? Hinata takes this to mean that Kageyama sees him as a waste of a player, but it's the opposite. It's a testament to Kageyama's high opinion of his potential. When they both first join Karasuno's team, Kageyama believes that Hinata's main strength lies in his physical abilities, which compensate for his non-existent technique. Because of this, he pushes Hinata to be a well-rounded player, having him practice only receives and refusing to give him a spike. He doesn't see Hinata as an equal yet. He thinks Hinata's just an idiot with a strong body. The moment Kageyama recognizes Hinata's true strength, he throws him a toss. Kageyama admires Hinata's iron will to always take a step forward no matter the situation, and gains a newfound sense of respect for Hinata. After developing their deviant quick attack, their relationship still isn't fully equal. Hinata isn't a useful player in his own right, and can only take points because of Kageyama's incredible technique. Something important to note about their quick attack is Hinata's trust in Kageyama. Kageyama was used to his teammates having no faith in him, not being on the same wavelength as him, and eventually abandoning him. But Hinata trusts him so wholeheartedly that he doesn't even look at Kageyama's tosses. He blindly believes that the tosses will come to him. This causes Kageyama to slowly change. He begins to trust Hinata back. For the first time, Kageyama and Hinata aren't playing alone. At the heart of their relationship is an unyielding admiration. They both see the other as something incredibly special, and they each hold each other up to the standard they've set for the other in their own mind. Since they look up to each other so highly, they don't let the other slack off. Whenever Hinata gets nervous or jealous of tall players, Kageyama gets confused. He doesn't see how Hinata could be jealous of anyone with his incredible amount of potential. If Kageyama ever holds back, Hinata gets angry, because to him, Kageyama is the king, the greatest, and has no reason to hold back. Their admiration for each other, propensity to see their weaknesses reflected by others, along with their competitive nature, leads them both to grow exponentially. Hinata grows technically, having Kageyama help him improve his technique, while Kageyama grows physically and emotionally, having Hinata test his endurance and resolve. Their bond grows stronger and stronger, but eventually it reaches a breaking point after their loss to Aoba Josai. Hinata's hunger for improvement won't allow Kageyama's mindset of being the only one in control. He wants to fight on his own with his eyes open. Kageyama isn't willing to try and take a step forward, and tells Hinata to either do the regular deviant quick attacks or not get tossed too. Kageyama thinks the reason that Hinata's spike was blocked was because Oikawa read him, and he thinks he holds all the responsibility. This is a part of him that he still retains from his time playing alone, and it's also connected to why he loves being a setter. He wants to be in control of the flow of the game. Hinata can't be satisfied by that. He feels they've found the limit to the deviant quick attack's potential, and he wants to improve. His hunger for improvement and evolution never changes, and it won't allow stagnation. He refuses to stay a tool and wants to be able to fight on the same level as Kageyama. When Karasuno goes to Tokyo for some practice matches, Hinata's quick attack is blocked. It's becoming clearer and clearer that their deviant quick attack isn't the invincible offense that they thought it was at first, and this grates at Hinata. He feels trapped and wants to push forward, but Kageyama won't allow it. After getting back from Tokyo, their differing ideologies come to a head. All of Hinata and Kageyama's anger comes out, Hinata yelling that he wants to get better, and Kageyama yelling that they already have everything they need. Their battle of spirits becomes literal as they grapple with each other, venting out their anger and lack of understanding of each other's feelings. After this, they each do the only thing they can in the situation they're in. They train separately. Hinata learns to improve his own technique, understanding, and fluency in the sport so that he can hit any toss, even if it isn't perfect. Kageyama goes to meet Oikawa and asks him what to do since he looks up to him as a setter. Oikawa breaks Kageyama's whole idea of his role down, hammering into him that he isn't the ruler. Hinata is. After hearing this, Kageyama no longer wants to use Hinata as a tool of his, but to give the serve that Hinata wants. Coach Ukai helps Kageyama figure out what kind of serve to give. Ukai's grandfather helps train Hinata, and the both of them continue their solo training. When Karasuno gets to the summer training camp, Hinata and Kageyama try their new quick attack that allows Hinata to fight on his own mid-air. Kageyama can't get the toss right, but Hinata now has the ability to go after tosses that aren't perfect. Their dynamic begins to flip here. Hinata is the one controlling things. He's hitting the tosses that Kageyama can't throw correctly. After missing time and time again, Kageyama subconsciously throws a toss that isn't their new quick attack in order to make sure Hinata hits the ball, and this makes Hinata furious. Why would Kageyama, the greatest setter, back down? They'll get it as long as they don't give up, and Hinata sees this as Kageyama giving up. Kageyama realizes immediately that he's the one that needs to catch up with Hinata in this situation, that he's the one holding them both back. He decides to stop practicing with Hinata at the camp and that he won't throw the new quick attack, not because he thinks Hinata can't hit it, but because he knows he can't give Hinata the toss that he wants. Hinata immediately understands this and moves to practice on his own. After solo practicing for a while, there's a game where Kageyama feels in the zone. He can feel how good he's playing, and knows that he could probably make the toss Hinata wants, but he's afraid to take that step forward. What if I miss? What if I ruin the good energy the team has? You're not gonna do it? As Kageyama is wrestling with his fear, Hinata plunges forward, demanding the toss. Kageyama tosses the new quick, and it succeeds. This comes up several times, where Kageyama will hold back, overthinking things and being caught up with whether something's possible or not, while Hinata will plunge forward, pushing Kageyama to take that step forward with him. No longer is Kageyama the teacher, or even the senior student. Now, he's running behind Hinata, who keeps pushing more and more forward. Hinata and Kageyama's relationship went from being dominated by Kageyama to equal to being dominated by Hinata. They will always push each other forward, and as I'm a filthy anime only, I'm excited to see how they grow in the upcoming season. The immense amount of trust and admiration that Hinata and Kageyama hold for each other is the main driving force that pushes them both forward. Without the other, they could never have gotten to where they are now. Trust is difficult, But if you're able to create friendships where both parties hold trust and admiration for each other, growth on both sides is inevitable. This has been Evan. Thank you for watching.